It starts with a sound. A prison door slamming shut. Loud, heavy, final. Not just closing, but sealing off a life as it once was. Inside these walls, time feels different. Slower. Controlled. Almost frozen. Every step down the hallway echoes. Every movement is watched. Every decision is no longer your own. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, casting shadows that never quite disappear. Look closer. Behind those bars is not just a prisoner, but a person. Someone who once lived freely, made choices, had plans, had a future. Now pull back. From above, these prisons seem distant, almost invisible. Yet they sit beside cities filled with life, freedom, and movement. Two worlds, existing side by side. One open. One confined. But what if this hidden world isn't small? What if it's larger than we imagine, and closer than we think? Across the country, this moment repeats every day. A door closes in one place, while another opens somewhere else. Cells fill, one by one, until rows stretch endlessly. Each door holds a different story. Different lives. Different paths. But all part of the same system. From the ground, it feels contained. But from above, the scale becomes undeniable. Facilities spread across cities, deserts, and rural landscapes. Quiet, structured, and everywhere. Inside, life follows a strict routine. Wake up. Stand for count. Move when told. Wait when told. Days turn into months. Months into years. Time passes, but for many, nothing truly changes. This isn't a rare situation. It's not isolated. It's a system that affects millions, touching lives far beyond the prison walls. This system didn't appear overnight. It was built, slowly, deliberately, over time. In courtrooms and offices, laws were written. Policies were designed to bring order and control. At the time, many of these decisions seemed necessary, logical, even justified. But systems grow. One policy leads to another. One change leads to expansion. Prisons that were once small became larger. Enforcement increased. Penalties became stricter. More people entered the system. Over time, incarceration became more than a response. It became a central part of the system itself. And these changes didn't happen all at once. They happened gradually, quietly, until one day, the scale was impossible to ignore. Today, we are still living inside those decisions, shaped by choices made long before now. At one point, a new fight was declared. A war on drugs, intended to reduce crime and protect communities. But policies don't just exist on paper. They play out in real lives. On real streets. Flashing lights became more common. Encounters became more frequent. Arrests increased. Sentences became longer. In many communities, especially those already facing challenges, the impact was immediate. Small actions could lead to serious consequences. Moments that once might have passed, now carried weight. For those involved, it happens quickly. A command. A movement. Hands restrained. And in an instant, everything changes. Lives shift direction, often permanently. What was meant to create safety ended up reshaping entire communities. And the effects are still being felt today. In one place, decisions are being made. Budgets reviewed. Numbers analyzed. Contracts discussed. In another place, those decisions become reality. Concrete walls rise. Facilities expand. Lives are lived within structures shaped far away. Two worlds, rarely seen together, yet deeply connected. Behind closed doors, conversations focus on capacity, efficiency, sustainability. But beyond the language of business, there are human outcomes. Prisons grow. Systems expand. And slowly, a question begins to emerge. Is this system driven only by justice? Or are there other forces at play? Fences stretch further. Barriers become stronger. And within it all, The system continues, quietly, steadily, growing in ways most people never see. Behind every number is a life. A person who once lived freely. Mornings that felt normal. Conversations that seemed ordinary. Moments that didn't feel important until they were gone. Then something happens. A decision. A mistake. A turning point. In a courtroom, time slows down. Every word carries weight. A verdict is spoken, and in an instant, everything changes. The future shifts. Life becomes structured, controlled, limited. Days follow routines. Time feels different. The outside world continues. But now, it's seen from a distance. Through a window. Through memory. One moment can redefine an entire life. For every person inside, someone is waiting outside. A child stands across from a parent. Separated by glass. Hands reach out, but never meet. Words are spoken, but something is missing. At home, life continues, but it feels incomplete. An empty chair at the table. A quiet space where someone used to be. Birthdays pass. Holidays come and go. Moments that should be shared are experienced apart. Goodbyes become routine. But they never feel normal. Over time, the distance grows. Not just physically, but emotionally. Because when one person is confined, the impact spreads far beyond them. Not everyone enters this system the same way. Different backgrounds. Different opportunities. Two individuals can face similar situations, but experience very different outcomes. Access to resources matters. Support systems matter. Environment matters. Inside the courtroom, decisions are made. But those decisions are influenced long before the trial begins. Some have guidance, representation, stability. Others face the process alone. A single ruling can lead to completely different futures. Justice is meant to be equal. But reality is more complex. And within that complexity, patterns begin to emerge. The door opens. For the first time in a long time, you step outside. Freedom returns. But it feels different. The world has changed. And so have you. There's hope at first. A belief that things will improve. But reality sets in quickly. Job interviews end in silence. Applications go unanswered. The past follows, in records, in conversations, in hesitation. Walking through the city, you're surrounded by life. But feel disconnected from it. Freedom exists, but not fully. Because leaving prison doesn't always mean leaving the system behind. For some, the journey doesn't move forward. It repeats. A cycle begins to form. In and out. Again and again. At first, it feels like coincidence. But over time, patterns become clear. Without support, without opportunity, without stability, the same challenges return. Barriers remain in place. Paperwork piles up. Processes repeat. Effort is made, but progress feels distant. You try to move forward, but something always pulls you back. Eventually, the system becomes familiar. Not because it's accepted, but because it's difficult to escape. And the longer it continues, the harder it becomes to break. But this is not where the story has to end. Because change is possible. Not instantly, not easily, but gradually and meaningfully. It starts with opportunity. A program. A classroom. A space where learning replaces limitation. Skills are developed. Confidence begins to return. For the first time in a long time, there's direction. Then comes support. A mentor. A guide. Someone who sees potential, instead of just a past. A simple moment. A handshake. Small, but powerful. Because it represents something deeper. Trust. A second chance. Communities begin to step in. Creating spaces where people are not defined by their worst moment, but supported toward their next one. Connection replaces isolation. Guidance replaces uncertainty. And slowly, the narrative begins to shift. From restriction to possibility. From survival to growth. As the sun rises over a new day, it brings something with it. Hope. Not just for individuals, but for the system itself. Because when awareness grows, so does the potential for change. A new day rises. Light breaks through the horizon. And with it comes possibility. The possibility to rethink, to rebuild, to create something better. Because awareness is the first step. And action is what follows. So now the question is, now that you've seen it, now that you understand it, what will you do next?